Welcome back to Go Again Gaming, and welcome back to the league that means nothing. Three. We are on round 2, and we are progressing at a nice quick pace. We have a lot of games to go, but a lot of games have been already done. With 54 players in the league, we've got a lot going on. Today we have some elemental hero. We have the elemental earth wizard Verdance taking on the earth ice guardian Jarl. So unlike in Kenderline, who we would have seen in the previous round, this is Eric Town, who is a teammate of mine, better known as Cusco TV. You'll find him on Twitch and all social media as Cusco TV, taking on Jarl. Eric was a big Icelander fan, so he's been chomping at the bit to play some ice. Historically, though, Guardian versus Wizard, very Wizard favored. So if our cosplay legend Esser Unger on Verdance, playing his first proper CC event, can take on the icy earth, I don't know, version of Jarl, let's find out, and we'll throw it over to the gameplay now.
Another awesome sponsor here on The League That Means Nothing for Season 3 is My Metal Cards, who make some fantastic metal card tokens to spice up your battlefield when playing Flesh and Blood. Go and check them out at mymetalcards.etsy.com or Twitter at my_metal_cards. And make sure you use the League That Means Nothing special discount by using Let's Play The League That Means Nothing. Let's Play TLTMN to get 5% off your order and receive one of these special new tokens exclusive to this league and this league only. Go and check them out when you can. That's My Metal Cards. Let's get on with the tournament.
So Esser going to start with Surgeon Aethertide, 1 Arcane for 2 resources as an action with Go Again. If damage is dealt this way, we amp 1 on the next. Well, which is very relevant in Verdance. Eric obviously going to pitch to that. Still 2 floating, over 2 arcane damage pretty comfortably. And then we have Esser going to meld a pulsing aether life. So gain a life and deal 4. So 2 prevented, 2 leaked. So 3-point swing here for Esser. Eric covering up 2 as best he can. And we get our first earth card into the graveyard, as it were. Very relevant for Verdance being able to turn on her text later in the game. Tunic for Eric. Esser, normally a blitz and limited player, so it's very nice to see the League That Means Nothing has inspired a few people to dip their toes into the classic constructed format. Really my preferred way of playing Flesh and Blood, except occasionally. I do love a bit of Living Legend. And we're going to activate those Gauntlets of Boreal Domain, pitch further into it just to get some cards out of hand and send in the Sledge of Anvilheim. Lets Eric filter his hand and still throw 6 points of damage. So Esser going to block 3 with Felling of the Crown. And go to 38, keeping 3 cards in hand, card in Arsenal. Eric moving to Arsenal, drawing. And again, looks like we're leading with our Sergeant Aethertide for 1. The thing about Sergeant Aethertide in this situation is it always lets Eric get a clean block with 3 resources. So we're going to block the 1 and see what our Verdance has to say about it. And it's just going to be a swell tiding. So this is going to be a 5 point of damage. Eric going to block 2, take 3. Not much to say about it. And then Sir going to thinking about pitching. Decided not to pitch. Realized he may not have an action point left to do anything. And just drawing up. We've got a Fruits of the Forest pitch into Gauntlets of Boreal Domain. So our next Mangle gets +2. Whether we're playing a Mangle or not is a different story. Yes, we are. That is a Mangle for 10. Not bad. Really, like, the Dominate isn't the relevant part here. We want to send 10 points of damage. We have two reasons, really, to send this. Obviously, 10 points of damage is good. But what we really want is we want cards. The bigger a hand Verdance can keep, the more options she will have on her turn. So Esser giving this one quite the think. We have our first 2 Earth cards in the graveyard, plus other actions, so that decomposing is a thing that can happen. And it looks like we're going to block 5 using, and then 9 using a Fate Foreseen, taking a single point of damage, getting our opt. Esser just electing to draw and pass, taking an intellect penalty, but that is, I believe, a rampant growth life, one of the more important combo cards in this Verdance deck, which we may or may not get to see. Obviously, it would be delightful if we got to see it. I could explain it to you, but I really have to pull for my boy Eric, my teammate, who is now sending in a fused oak. So this is 9 dominate, and if it hits, 2 random cards from Esther's hand will go to the bottom of his deck. He doesn't really get a say in the matter. He doesn't get to choose the cards, but at least he gets to choose the order. So, revealing a Frozen to Death and a So tomorrow. Esther choosing to block 5 here. And then we're going to play a Seeds of Tomorrow, putting our Arsenal to the bottom. Bring up 10. I wonder, do we have we anything else lined up here? It does not. Maybe we do. Eric looks like he's thinking about something. Nope, we just let that happen. Probably put that So tomorrow now that it has targets into the arsenal. 8 plus Tunic is just drawing a card. Now let's see what we have here from our Verdance. And it's just going to be Swell Tiding, just 5 damage. No one hits, no buffs, nothing like that. Verdance here, obviously looking to get this into a second cycle kind of game because you really want to play 2 to 3 rampant growth lives on a turn where you gain a bunch of life and amp your Search of Aethertide, which will amp your next thing, which will kind of shut the game down pretty drastically. So we're going to activate Tunic to play the So tomorrow, as I said. So is going to banish itself, and we're going to put an Oakenhold back to the bottom of our deck. And because it was played from Arsenal, we have to draw a card. Eric here going to go with the Enlightened Strike. Some classic Guardian gameplay here. Here are my good generic cards. So this is going to be 5. I assume the one chosen is Go Again. Yes. And 5 is taken by Esser, who is not yet concerned, pitching, over pitching, sending a Spinal Crush. So this is going to come in for 9. I wonder if there was some consideration to playing a card like Frozen to Death. You put a -1 counter. Or is that how that works? I can't remember. I don't remember which is the fuse effect on it yet. New cards. Okay. So we're going to double D-react here. Played for scene. We're going to sink below. We've left the card on top, but we've decided we do not want to sink a card from our hand. And we're just going to search into Ether Tide here for 1. Eric going to block some of that with a truce. Follow that Surgeon Ether Tide up with a Swell Tidings. So again, we're going to get a nice little bit of damage leak here for 3. Unless Eric has something like an Oasis Respite. No, we are just going to leak 3 points of damage. Eric going to keep 3 cards in hand. Either send Hammer, send something, or to establish an arsenal, or we're going to send something slightly. It looks like we're going to go get an Imposing Visage using our Pitching of Fruits of the Forest. We're going to search for an aura with cost X or less. X is 0 in this case, and then we'll put it into play and then shuffle. And it looks like, yes, the aura we've chosen, Crumble to Eternity, which allows when it enters, you may put a -1 counter on an equipment, and then your next attack on your next turn gets done. We already have a -1 on the head on the chest piece, so we're popping 1 on the head piece. Interesting. I always considered going after Storm Striders to be the big thing because it closes the game by a turn, but Plume of Evergrowth can rebuy your Rampant Growth Life, allowing you to combo off with 1 copy of the card. And then Eric simply going to move to Arsenal. Generally, not a lot of instant speed shenanigans from Verdance using the Storm Striders in a mostly fair way. I say mostly fair. And here we have another Pulsing Ether Life coming in for 4. Eric pitching a Okanol, taking 3. And then we're going to gain 3 life using this Sigil of Solace. So now the life total difference is starting to grow very much in Verdance's favor. Surprised to see the Okanol pitch there. There must not be any fuse targets in hand. We're going to lead with a Winter's. It's a pretty good one. Force some cards out of your opponent's hand. I start thinking about what to pitch to pay for this Winter's. Pitching another Growth Life. And just following up with a nominated command. It's not too bad. So it looks like we might be getting that arsenal off of Esser here. And yeah, we're blocking with an Autumn's Touch and then losing a Rootbound Carapace. Exactly what you want to see in Arsenal when you're sending in a Command and Conquer with Dominate. Esser just simply choosing to Arsenal and pass, not even filtering a card from hand. I think if you're Eric right now, you feel pretty good knowing there's some combo pieces gone to the bottom of the deck here. We're going to reveal a Roots of the Forest and a Channel Mount Eisen to this Oakenold. So this is going to be a 9 dominate again. Only may block with one card from hand, and if it hits, 2 random cards to the bottom of your deck. Let's see how Esser decides to interact with this. Again, a defense reaction from Arsenal would be great here, but it does not look like we have that as just a sink below. And then we lay our 3 cards out. Eric gets to choose which one Esser gets to keep. The other 2 will go to the bottom. Now, Esser gets to choose the order they go to the bottom, but whether we get there or not is an entirely story. You may see them again. And Eric is going to choose to use his Fruits of the Forest for some Yum Yum, gain 2 life, go to 26 even. Moving to Arsenal and passing. Now we're just going to activate our Surgeon Ether Tide here, sending in a point of damage. Eric choosing to use Channel Mount Eisen to cover it up. And Esser simply going to pass through to the end of the turn. All the tempo now on Jarl's side here, activating Gauntlets of Boreal Domain, pitching a Crumble to Eternity. That means it has a Mango would have +2 and Dominate. Pitching another blue, sending in this Mango. So this is going to be a 10 Dominate. I'd be very impressed if Esser manages to survive this one because this is brutal. With this 10 Dominate, we're going to need so much to cover this up. Especially now that we only have one piece of armor to block with. So we've got a block with the chest piece, a block with Ether Arc, that's a 4 block. Or we're blocking with Pulsing Ether Life. And then we're activating Plume of Evergrowth as an instant to buy back a Felling Crown. Yep, Esser just taking 6. Has no equipment but -1 counters on it for Mangle to Mangle between the block and the activation of Plume. And Esser here with 3 cards in hand, one of which we know is a Plow Under. Or not a Plow Under, a Felling of the Crown, much more relevant, much better card. And then we're going to Felling, we're going to Decompose, so this is just going to be 4, but there will be some disruption attached. Not just for Eric and Jarl, but for Esser as well, because Felling of the Crown is a symmetrical effect. If I play it and I have a card left in hand, well, that card is going to the bottom of my deck. So Esser has to put his last card in hand to the bottom. Not ideal, not one, but sometimes the disruption is worth it. Now, that is their first time decomposing this turn for this game, so that's only going to be 4 points of damage. And Eric is going to choose to exposed to the elements, used with an ice guard to destroy a piece of equipment with 0 defense controlled by his opponent, unless they pay 2. So it looks like we're losing Stormies as well. We go from one turn where nothing is happening to Eric absolutely decimating his equipment. All in one turn, just you've no equipment left now. This is brutal. And we're just going to sink below. Full cover that felling. I imagine Eric is going to Arsenal. Got to feel in a pretty good position when your wizard has lost all of their combo equipment bar, their arm slot. No, we're not going to Arsenal pass. We're just going to send in Hammer for 6, the biggest bung. Sir choosing to block with a snapback and a root bed carapace, getting some more decompose on. We're now halfway towards online. I think, yeah, we have 3. So we've chosen to banish 3 earth actions twice. So so we have 1 more decompose left to go online. And Eric passing the turn. Esther just going to play this healing potion and gain 3 from a sigil solace. Pretty solid Verdance turn. Gets better when her hero text is online, but you know what, we'll take it. And here we have just a pitch of blue, red, red to play a Spinal Crush. Spinal Crush generally not a problem for wizards, but kind of a problem when your opponent has a Surgeon Aethertide, which they do, which is an action with Go Again. So Esther blocking 6, taking 3, going back to 20. And Esther just going to play a healing potion. So really what you want when now that you're Jarl here, when your opponent has 3 empty equipment slots, is you want to find some ice cards. We're going to activate Gauntlet of Boreal Domain. Let's send in a command 2 floating. So this is coming in for 6 with 2 floating. All my brain says is that's a pummel, that's a pummel, that's a pummel, that's a pummel. And we're going to just Seeds of Tomorrow it, preventing 5 points of damage, giving up our arsenal, and Eric is going to, if that is indeed a pummel, decide that discretion is the better source. That he is just going to wait for his effects to line up slightly better in the long run. Discretion is the better part of valor. That's what I'm trying to say. Ladies and gentlemen, don't record so close to Christmas. You're going to be busy. Anyway, Esser choosing simply to Arsenal what I believe is a fate foreseen and passing. And Eric is now drawn up. And let's see what he has here. And what he has is, in fact, a fused Oakenode. So this is our 3rd Oakenode of the game. This is a biggin, 9 dominate. If that is, in fact, a pummel, this is going to be some serious power. Yeah, so we're going to block. Oof, it looks like a root bound and a fate foreseen. So that's covering a total of 8 so far on this 9. Thankfully, this is not a crush effect. This is, hey, you've taken 1 point of damage. Congratulations. But it has allowed Esser to activate Verdance's hero ability, which is super, super relevant. Eric going to move to Arsenal and draw up. Now, if you're Esser, you're really looking for something like you need that ramp growth life to just start pushing damage. We're at 18 to 28, but hey, we're a wizard. You never know what's going to happen. Leading here, Eric with a Winter's Bite, giving a Frostbite due to Jarl's hero text, which says, when you play an ice card, put a Frostbite in your opponent's exposed equipment zone. Which right now there's 3. So Esser gets his first of 3 Frostbites. And we're going to pay for the Winter's Bite as well. Then we're pitching to play a Polar Blast, giving a second Frostbite. And Esser may pay 1, otherwise the next attack Eric plays this turn gains Dominate. Not even plays, the next attack this turn gains Dominate, which is even better because it affects the hammer. Yeah, looks like we're just going to pay for that as well, are we? Yes, we're paying with a mental block, and then we're going to hammer for 6 dom. 6, no dom. 2 floating. Esser coming in with a sink below. Got 2 frostbites, bro. Yes, has pitched a blue, so can pay for them. And Eric drawing up. 28 plays 16. Yep. So we're just going to gain 3 life and deal a damage from a Verdance shot here. I would. Oh, yeah, I would be very surprised to have seen Eric do that, but hey, keeping that life total advantage as much as possible because he knows the thresholds, he knows where he might die. Okay, we have another activation of gauntlets just to filter a card into a command and conquer. Again, floating 2. The Guardian special number 2 floating. Let's see what Esther decides to do here. And yeah, we're just going to block the 6. Eric continuing to bluff a pummel, I guess. And draw 4. And stop me if you've seen this one before. We have an activation of Surgent Ether Tide. 1 arcane. Pitching a single. Bring the arcane. And then we have a Felling of the Crown. Pitching and decomposing, sending 8 with pointed disruption here, where we're going to be like, hey, give me a card. Also, this is 8 damage. Yeah, so we're banishing 2 Earth in an action. Facing down 8 points. Got a 2 block on our gloves. And then a single blow covering that, taking 2 whole points of damage. Now, let's see what Eric has to throw back after getting a little bit of disruption and finally managing to leak some damage from Esser. We're going to just sledge for 6 of tunic plus a blue. Pretty good value there. If you were to ask Michael Hamilton, the value king, whether or not he thought this was good value, I'm sure he would agree. And we're just going to see 6 block. At the rate this game is going, I could see this game. If we're going to get deep into second cycle, but it looks like it could almost go to fatigue at this rate. And what is Esther going to do? Looks like it's just going to be an activation of Surging Ether Tide. Loading 1, I think that is a spindle. So Eric looks like he's electing to take the 1. Eric thinking about this. What could he possibly have? Who knows? Yeah, just taking the 1, calling his bluff, sending in 5. 5 with go again. 2 cards left. 3 cards left in hand. Let's see how Esser decides to respond to this. Got a bit of wiggle room in terms of life, but it looks like we're going to mental block, which is not really a card I've read much. Yeah. You can discard it. Yes, we're going to discard it, take 3, but use it to create a ponder token, which is a really powerful effect. And then we're going to follow it up with a red glacial footstep. So here's 10. Big number go boom. 10 whole points of damage. I wouldn't be surprised to see Esser block drop the entire hand to block here. Try and cover this damage as much as possible. So we know we've got a ponder incoming, so as long as we can play our arsenal, we're guaranteed to have a new arsenal. Yeah. So we're going to block with an Autumn's Touch and another mental block. I'm pretty sure I saw those mental blocks pitched early in the game, so we are definitely getting pretty close into Verdance's second cycle. And we're going to send in an Ether Spindle. So for Arcane, up to X, where X is the damage dealt by Ether Spindle. Derek choosing to block 2, take 2. Esther gets to opt 2. A lot of 2. Really good. Allows Esther to choose his arsenal functionally because of these ponder tokens. leaving both on top, choosing the order, drawing for both ponders, choosing to arsenal one, and draw. So let's see what we have here. It is just a Sledge of Anvilheim. Good old 6 float 2. Esser knowing obviously that there's no lethal here. There can't be lethal here. And yes, there is in fact the pummel that we've been waiting for, putting Esser to 1. But thankfully, no discard. Very important. No discard effect, because that's not how pummel works. On a hammer, pummel does not trigger a discard. Now let's see what we have here for Verdance. Cracking a healing potion, gaining 2 life. Preventing one from Verdance's trigger. Crack a healing potion. Gain 2 life. Send 1 arcane, which is going to prevent it as well. It looks like we have 2 heartbeats of Candlehold as well. Really trying to think about what to do here. So we need those. I think we need 4 resources here. Do what we're going to Heartbeat of Candlehold, pitching a red, gain a life, deal a damage. And do it. Gain a life, deal a damage, gain a life, deal a damage. So we're going to block nearly all of that. Now we have a rampant growth life, having gained so far 5 life this turn. We're going to hold focus to amp 1. We're going to rampant growth life, so we're going to gain a life, which will trigger Verdance. So Verdance will try and deal 2 damage here. Oh, choosing not to deal damage. But we have gained 8 life. And then we're going to Surge an Ether Tide for 9. Looks like we're preventing 1. And then a Reverberate for a grand total of 7, because 4 damage was. Surely I thought it was more than that. Yeah. It's amped by 7, so it's a 10-point shot coming in, putting Eric from 16 down to 6. And that's the combo. That's the Verdance combo, baby. We don't get another shot at that, but we have gone from being in a life deficit of over 20 points to being in a life lead of 3. Eric going to send in Enlightened Strike, probably going to choose 7. Esser choosing to take 7, go to 2 again. So you know Eric is in trouble. I think I see why. We're going to double Fruits of the Forest. Gain 4. Dealing 1 arcane and 1 arcane. Pitching a blue, taking none of the arcane. Then we're going to gain life with a rampant growth life. And then amp 5. And then we have an Ether Arc for 6. Eric can prevent 2 going to 2. But this means that Esser 100% gets his Ponder for this Ether Arc. Yeah, pitching 2 reds here, taking exactly 4. Esther gets his Ponder, has forgotten his Ponder. I think he's just very excitable. And for Eric going to just gain some life with this Fruits of the Forest, go back up 4, and hope that we're safe. But it looks like Esser has found his last healing potion, his last heartbeat of Candlehold. Yeah, so we're going to heartbeat for 3, gain 3, deal 3. 3 instances of 1 for what it's worth. Then we're going to rampant growth life. Gain 1. Gain 1, deal 1 arcane. 4. Search Aether Tide for 5. Event 2. And then Aether Arc for well over lethal. Sending Jarl back to the frosty peak of Mount Isa as Verdance continues to walk through the Candlehold as its queen. A great game for all involved, really well played by Esser. He managed to set up an excellent second cycle, a really powerful second cycle, and Eric really doing everything he could to close that game out as quickly as possible while keeping his life total high. Really a good example of what you need to do as a guardian, even if you don't get there, what you need to do to try and get there versus Wizard. And Esser showing a lot of patience and a lot of bravery, managing to go all the way down to 1, knowing that he couldn't quite die. And really, that's what led him to victory here. So, congratulations, Esser. Welcome to your 1-1 bracket. Commiserations, Eric, on 0-2, but don't you worry. 4 more rounds of CC to go. You might still sneak in there into that coveted top 8 spot. That means absolutely nothing at all. But for you, I hope this league means something. I hope you love watching Flesh and Blood just for the love of the game. If you love it, make sure you like the video. Make sure you comment. Tell me how much you love watching the league that means absolutely nothing. Hey, you can blow smoke up me as well at finals_spirit or finalsspirit.bsky.social. Tell me how great a job I'm doing on commentary. And also, before you go, make sure you subscribe so that you get to see all of this fantastic CC gameplay in your YouTube inbox every single day. Because Az is doing Trojan work, making sure it's all edited, ready to go. But for now, I will leave you, and I hope you enjoy the league that means absolutely nothing. I hope it is bringing some Christmas cheer all throughout this holiday season, and I'll see you in the next one.